Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Sorry I've been away for so long. It's been kind of a crazy winter here up in Wisconsin. I think total we got about 6 feet of snow, if not more, where I live. And so it's been a lot of trying to get outdoor stuff done and unfortunately kind of having to neglect my channel. So today, I wanted to talk a little bit about something that in my world, in the industry I work in, is a kind of ever looming thing, or kind of an ever present thing, which is bird flu. So, bird flu is a virus in poultry. Uh, it occurs in domestic poultry, so chickens, ducks, turkey, commercially raised pheasants, all those sorts of species, as well as it is ever present in wild birds, flocks, wild bird populations. So it happens in geese, wild ducks, eagles, crows, pretty much any bird species it is present in or can be present in. One, I know a lot of people are, with inflation happening, are very aware of some things like the price of eggs and the price of chicken meat and turkey meat and stuff like that. In the last year, those have in some ways kind of skyrocketed. And the biggest reason for that is the presence of bird flu. So, because of my job, I do work in commercial poultry production. Bird flu is, like I said, an ever present thing. And it is something that I actually keep track of through the USDA website. They report every day on new cases around the country. And last year in Wisconsin, so it was like February, March of 2022, was in Wisconsin was the first commercial poultry positive for avian influenza. I believe the strain is N1H5. That is the current strain. It is a Euro-Asian strain, so it comes from Europe and Asia. And the first Wisconsin commercial positive happened about a year ago, a little over a year ago now. And that was down in Jefferson County, and it was a commercial layer operation. So that means that it was a large chicken facility, and the chickens there were female hens that laid eggs for sale. They were the eggs that you would use for like breakfast. And total, when bird flu hits a farm, one thing I want to kind of make people aware of, because not everybody knows this, when bird flu hits a farm and it's confirmed positive, in Wisconsin, when we need to confirm a positive bird flu case, we actually will take samples, or we will take a deceased animal to the Wisconsin Veterinary Diagnostic Lab in Madison. It is part of the UW-Madison Veterinary School. And they have specific tests there. They have a specific test and the necessary equipment to be able to confirm that the bird flu virus is present. That is how it is confirmed. And if they need further testing, just in case there is the chance of a false positive, they will send it to a national lab in Iowa, where they will confirm or deny that, like the strain of bird flu. And that happened quite a lot for the company that I work for, where we would make sometimes multiple trips a week down to Madison to like make sure that our flocks did not have bird flu and that it was something else. In case we were concerned that the birds were sick, we would do the necessary testing that we needed to do and actually drive it down to Madison, have them confirm it's not bird flu, so then we can do what we needed to do otherwise to make sure that the birds were treated correctly. So when a flock is, whether it be a backyard flock or a commercial flock, when a flock is confirmed positive for bird flu, at that point, USDA, so the U.S. Department of Agriculture, takes control of that flock. They, at that point, make the determination of how that flock is going to be handled and who's going to be doing what, who has exposure to that flock, who does anything with that flock. And every flock that I am aware of, no matter if it's backyards, big, small, commercial, whatever, every flock last year that was confirmed positive for bird flu was euthanized. On a backyard sense, every bird that is on that property is euthanized. And in a commercial sense, I'm speaking from experience, having worked in the commercial poultry industry for several years now. If a commercial farm, even if it's just one flock on that farm, if there is a positive case on that farm, when USDA essentially takes over that farm, whether, really no matter what, USDA is in charge of what happens to that flock. The entire farm has to be euthanized. Because in a commercial setting, the barns are in such close proximity to each other, and with how bird flu is spread, when it's confirmed in one barn, there is nothing keeping it from any other barn. It is going to transmit between barns so quickly that there is no chance of keeping it from every single bird on that farm. That's why it is such a devastating disease, and that is the biggest reason that egg prices and poultry meat prices has gone up so drastically in the last year. In Wisconsin alone last year, so the entirety of 2022, we lost a roughly 3.6 million birds. Minnesota, our neighboring state, lost, I believe, close to 4 million birds. Iowa lost over 15 million birds strictly due to bird flu last year. So all of 2022, Iowa had the most devastating cases of bird flu, like I said, losing over 15 million birds. In Wisconsin, the first case of bird flu was on a commercial layer facility, as I had said a minute ago. That farm alone, because of the sheer size of the facility, they lost 2.8 million birds. On a commercial turkey farm, which I work with turkeys, I do not work with chickens. Say, for example, we have a multi-age farm. So we have little birds that are coming directly from the hatchery in certain barns, and we have older birds, so birds that are from about 6 weeks old till when they market at about 20 weeks old, between 20 and 22 weeks. those are big farms. For turkey production, for a mixed age farm, that would be, let's say, 9 barns for a larger one. So 3 for brood, 6 for grow. Brood meaning the little birds, grow meaning the birds that are 6 weeks and up. Let's say every barn was full of birds and they had a positive in one of the grow barns. And average for Wisconsin for turkey production, with kind of the average size barn, again, for turkey production, you're averaging between 10 and 12,000 birds in a barn. If every barn is full on that particular farm when it hits positive, 9 barns times 12,000 birds, let's say, that's over 100,000 birds right there that USDA will tell that company or those producers every bird needs to be euthanized. And a grow bird has the potential of weighing 50 pounds at market, and 35 or 40 pounds of that is going to be used for meat. So you do the math of how much meat you're losing on a single farm. 100,000 birds times, let's say, 35 pounds of meat from all the birds that are marketed or going to be marketed in the future, just from that farm for the birds that are currently on that site. That is minimum 350,000 pounds of meat that is no longer safe for human consumption because they're euthanized because they have a disease. So that is probably the biggest reason why poultry prices and egg prices have skyrocketed in the last year. And what kind of is amazing, veterinarians and people that work in the industry, in the poultry industry, is in the past. So I'll use the outbreak before 2022. So the outbreak in 2015, again, it affected poultry. In the spring, it was high pathogenic bird flu, which is the very contagious. USDA takes control. We have to euthanize the entire farm. And then in the fall, we had the occasional sick flock, which happens. It could be a number of things, but it was low pathogenic bird flu. So in those cases, you don't have to euthanize the entire flock. It's actually manageable. And it's a different strain of bird flu. So there's no harm to really anything else. It's just they're sick. It's a respiratory infection, similar to the human flu. It would be more similar to that, where you're sick for a couple days, then you get better, generally speaking. That would be more similar to like the low pathogenic bird flu. High pathogenic bird flu would be something like COVID, where it is very severe. It can be a very quick onset, and the potential of it is devastating. So that's kind of the equivalent that I have for human illnesses is, if it's low pathogenic, it's not super, super serious. It's flu, like the regular human flu. High pathogenic would be more like COVID. It's devastating. So if anybody's ever wondering anything about poultry diseases, poultry anything, As I said, I work in poultry. That is my life. Leave your questions, comments, concerns down in the comments, and I will answer them as I'm able to.